माननीय सभासदों, माननीय सभापति जी,
Honorable members, I begin today's session with Swachh Bharat Green Pledge. All of you, please extend your right hand for this pledge. I shall reuse whatever we can. I shall create to clean the environment. I shall reduce the waste we create. I shall plant more trees. I shall conserve energy and water. Please be seated. A very good morning to all of you. I welcome you all to this National Youth Parliament, and I hope this session will be fruitful and informative. In today's session is with our newly elected members. Members to take oath of affirmation. Secretary General, please.
Sri J. Malvin, who stands elected from Lakhimpur, Assam, will now take oath or affirmation. Sir, would you want to take oath or affirmation?
Oath.
In which language would you like to take the oath in?
English, please. I am J. Melvin. Do swear in name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will faithfully and constitutionally discharge my duties as a minister as for union, and that I will do right to all manners of people in accordance with Constitution and the law, without fear or favor, affection or I will.
Sir, do you want to take oath or affirmation?
Oath.
In which language would you like to take the oath in?
In Tamil, please. தமிழ்நாடு திருவண்ணாமலை நாடாளுமன்ற தொகுதியிலிருந்து மக்கள் சபையின் உறுப்பினராக தேர்ந்தெடுக்கப்பட்டுள்ள வசீர் அகமது என்னும் நான் சட்டப்பூர்வமாக நிறுவப்பட்டுள்ள இந்திய அரசமைப்பின் உண்மையான நம்பிக்கையும் பற்றுதல் கொண்டிருப்பேன் என்றும் இந்திய நாட்டின் இறையாண்மையும் ஒருமைப்பாட்டினையும் நிலைநிறுத்துவேன் என்றும் நான் மேற்கொள்ள இருக்கும் கடமையை நேர்மையுடன் நிறைவேற்றுவேன் என்றும் உளமாற உறுதி கொள்கிறேன்.
Honorable members, as we met today, this is my sad duty to inform you that the demise of our colleague, Mr. H. Vasant Kumar. Vasant Kumar was a politician and a businessman. He active in his work life. He worked in the rural area to develop the rural labor employees. He was the 17th member of Lok Sabha and the member of Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly. He was passed away at the age of 17 in Tamil Nadu on 28th August 2020.
Sir, I rise to my tributes to Sri Vasanta Kumar, whose death has been deeply mourned by all. He was with us to the very last moment. He seemed to be well and happy, and therefore the shock of his passing away was unexpected. His contribution towards the nation was undeniable. I would like to extend my deep condolence to his family.
Before expressing my condolence as a leader of opposition party, I would like to welcome Honorable Speaker, Prime Minister Ji, members and all people over here for this Parliament gathering. Sir Ji, I would like to associate myself and my party with the tributes you paid by you and the leader of the house. Talking about condolence, I had the privilege to work with Sri Vasanta Kumar ji. He was very open-hearted, respectful and honorable person to be with. I would like to recommend all members to read the book Vetri Padigattu, which translates to Ladder of Success, which is an autobiography of late Vasanta Kumar ji. We have indeed lost a very good social worker, a political leader and a public man. Once again, I would like to associate myself and my party in sending our deepest condolence to the bereaved family. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker ji. Jai Hind.
The House may stand in silence for a while to express our deep condolences. Please be seated. The Secretary General may convey the message of condolences to the bereaved family.
Yes, sir.
Introduction of new minister. Prime Minister shall introduce new minister.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I take pleasure in introducing to you, through you, to the House, my colleagues, the new minister, Sri Jamal, Ministry of Tourism. Sri Wazir Ahmed, Ministry of Culture.
Now the question hour begins. Question number 101, 5G programs. Now the Honorable Sri Abu Bakr Siddiq can ask the question.
My question is to Ministry of Telecommunication and Postal Service. Why the 5G program has not been implemented yet? Even though the government has been approved information technology, 5G has high speed with low latency. It supports the technology for meter programs with more bandwidth. It will help India to walk through the newly aged technology. Then why it has not been implemented yet?
Honorable Speaker, even though the 5G program has great options and digital technology, but it has limited global currency. The major issue is if the bandwidth increases, there will be lack of encryption and high hacking choice. It will also allow the criminals and hackers to seize the data which can be transmitted. Hence, we are thinking about it.
Then why did government pass the bill if there are many issues happening around?
SRS, the answer is in your question itself. We have not implemented yet. The discussions are going on and lot of research work is going on. So, the limited global coverage is also another major issue which should be considered, though it is needy.
As far from your answer, you said it is needy. Still you are thinking about implementation? What? Don't want to get our country to get high meta programs?
Now I wish the Minister of Agriculture to involve.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, all might think this matter have nothing to do with agriculture, but fortunately, everything links with agriculture. Indirectly, the base of all 2G, 3G, 5G and 4G deals with called frequencies. The more we produce frequency, the more it takes to the extension of various poor species, which will lead to lack of pollen transfer. This is directly affected to agriculture. Also will bring shortage targeting major cities.
Moving to next question. Question number 102. Hospital facilities in hamlet areas.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, will the Minister of Health be pleased to state whether the government has constructed hospitals for hamlets?
Sir, under the National Health Mission, primary health centers are established to cover a population of 30,000 in rural areas and 20,000 in hilly, tribal and desert areas. All over India, there are 30,045. I repeat, 30,045 hospitals spread across.
Mr. Speaker, will the Ministry of Rural Development be pleased to state there are 6,64,369 villages. What step has been taken for the development of the government hospitals? If so, state this.
Honorable Speaker, public health care can be improved in villages by improving living and working conditions, better salaries, use of disruptive technology, cooperative arrangements with other rural health facilities, and continued training help the doctors and nurses to provide high quality care in rural areas, and I am sure we are putting all our efforts on it, sir. So one of the important reasons for declining of rural health care is inadequate human resources in rural areas. That is, the doctors don't want to work in rural areas either because of infrastructure inadequacy or lack of incentives. But I am sure, sir, the government is seriously taking steps on it, and we are providing all the needies with the adequate facilities, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, will the Finance Minister of the Union Government will be pleased to state? As they mentioned, they had 30,045 rural hospitals. How many people got benefited by the rural hospitals? If so, what are the financial benefits they have given? Thank you.
Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of India, I have to answer for the question asked by the opposition party. Sir, among 70% of the rural population in India, 20% were benefited by the rural government expenditure and also by the primary health care center in 2021 to 22 increased by 73% to 4.72 lakh crores. I hope that I have given a proper statement for the queries of the opposition. And also, we have given 1.5 lakh for Ayushman Bharat scheme under National Health Mission. Thank you.
Next question. Question number 103. Agriculture by farmers. Can the opposition party raise the query to the Minister of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare?
Many of Indian farmers have quitted agriculture and moved to another jobs. Whether your government has taken any surveys to assess the number of farmers who quitted the agriculture?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the survey of 5,000 from household across 80 states says that 76% of farmers would prefer to do some work other than farming. 76 farmers want to give up farming. 76 farmers want to give up farming. 48% of farmers don't want the next generation to take up farming. Thank you, sir.
Thanks to the ruling party, because your mouth's gonna get zipped at the end. According to NCRB, the National Crime Records Bureau says the data 3,58,164 real human beings who chose their profession, get engaged in the farming, has committed suicide. Yes, they are not just human beings, they are the backbone of India. You know what was their only behind reason for all those deaths? Yes, they chose to be farmers in agriculture under the government of people which has been ruined by you, which has been ruled by you. So, my question is to the ruling party now. What are the measures taken suggesting for these issues?
Minister of Criminal Justice, please.
Sir, we are well aware of this issue. I understand this is one of the important issues to address. I would like to represent the statistics that the growth rate of agrarian suicides are also declined significantly from 6.39% in 1995 to 2002 to 3.82% in 2003 to 2019. We are trying our best to reduce those numbers, and we hope it would be zero in few years.
Next question, question number 104, dropout of girls. Can the opposition party raise the query to the Minister of Human Resource Development?
Mr. Speaker, as we all know, women education in India plays a very important role in functioning of a country. So, what are the steps taken by the government to uplift education standards of women and sanitization?
Honorable Speaker, our Ministry of Human Resource Development has already done it. There are two ministries which are already working on this course. Apart from my ministry, the Ministry of Human Resource Development, the Ministry of Drinking Water, and the Ministry of Sanitization are helping for this cause. Thank you.
The main reason for girls' children dropout is because of child marriage and financial struggle of their family. Does the government took any effective measures regarding this matter?
There are 4 government schemes for the welfare for the girl child in India. There is Suganya Samriddhi Yojana, Balika Samriddhi Yojana, Beti Bachao Beti Badho, Ladli scheme. These schemes provides investment facilities at lowest rate, which helps parents to save money easily for their child education. Also, effective measures has been taken regarding child marriage.
As our economy makes a slow recovery from the crushing impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, what effort have been taken by the government to prioritize the girls' education?
Our Honorable Speaker, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Government of India has held various consultations with the state government and also the union territories at different levels. Also, a brainstorming session was held up with the civil society organizations, that is CSO, on January 2021. Education is the most concurrent list in the constitution, and majority of the schools are under the domain of respective state governments and also the union territory governments. However, to ensure that each and every student must continuous access to their education, and there is a comprehensive initiative called Prime Minister Ki E-Vidya, that is the part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan on 17th May 2020. This initiative may takes and helps not only for the girls' education, but it also ensures the all their educations of their Indian citizens. Thank you.
Next question, question number 105, manual scavenger.
Mr. Speaker and the Honorable Ruling Party members, the Prohibition of Employment as Manual Scavengers and the Rehabilitation Act 2013. For your kind note, it is an act that bans use of any individual for manual cleaning, carrying and disposing the excrement from toilets, septic tanks and sewers by hand. I feel very sorry to state that Tamil Nadu is the second highest manual scavenging death, approximately 43 deaths in a year. It is noted officially, sir, and unofficially many more. So as the ruling party, what are the protective measures taken by the ruling party for the manual scavengers?
Tamil Nadu government has been taken several safety measures for them. The cleaning should be done during only the daytime. Duration should not exceed 90 minutes, and a 30 minutes breaks between two searches is to be mandatory allowed. Thank you. And monetary assistance of 40,000 rupees is allocated after identification. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, we are in the 21st century. All other sectors except this has been developed. Why has the ruling party not taken any development steps in this sector?
The Indian government is already working on it. A robot scavenging machine named Bandicoot is introduced in Hyderabad. The machine substitutes manual scavenging of underground system, and above all, we will train the manual scavengers to operate the machine, which will be more beneficial for them. Thank you.
Next question. Question number 106. Skill development and entrepreneurship.
What are all the details that you have given to the short-term training program for the women empowerment and especially for women children?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have the answer, my friend. Women development is our prime motive, and women is the pride and the power of our nation. Under Skill India mission, the Ministry of the Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, MSDE, has been delivering short-term skills through various programs to all the sections of the society across the country. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana is a flagship scheme of MSDE with an objective to impart social duration skill development training and certification to youth and to make them employable for a better livelihood across the country. PMKVY has two training components, namely short-term training and recognition of prior learning.
Please explain the National Appreciation Promotion Scheme, NAPS.
Yes, the National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme was launched by MSDE with an aim to promote apprenticeship training in the country by providing stipend support to the apprentices, undertake capacity building of the apprenticeship ecosystem, and provide advocacy assistance to support rapid growth. The scheme provides upskilling opportunities to candidates who have undergone short-term skill training.
Women who have completed their vocational training during the last 4 years, whether they were given the wage employment in industries?
Of course they were given. Directorate General of Training under MSDE conducts vocational training for 1 year duration in 6 courses, namely computer-aided embroidery and designing, dressmaking, fashion design and technology, sewing technology, cosmetology and spa therapy under CTS to increase as well as encourage women participation in ITIs. Additionally, a compulsory subject, employability skills, has been included in the curricula of schemes under CTS, covering the topic, namely English literacy, IT literacy, communication skills and entrepreneurship skills with a duration of 90 hours for 1 year course for the awareness of the trainees on soft skills and entrepreneurial skills. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. The questionnaire is over. Now the bills for consideration. Secretary General to report the message relation to the bill from Upper Parliament.
Sir, I have to report the following bills received from the upper chamber of the Youth Parliament. Is that the Indian Antarctic Bill 2022 has been proposed by the Union Minister for approval.
Now the House will take up consideration of the Indian Antarctic Bill 2022.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move. Honorable members, it takes around 6 months to see sun rays in the Antarctic region. This bill provides effect to the Antarctic Treaty. The bill focuses on conservation and conservation of the aquatic marine living resources. The bill follows strict protocols on regulation and the protection of aquatic marine environment. This bill is applicable to all the people, vessels and aircraft who are in part of the Indian expedition to Antarctica, and they are all supposed to come under the permitted rule by the law. And the areas include in the Antarctic station are the continent of Antarctic, which includes ice shelves, and the areas adjacent to it, seas and aircraft that are located 60 degrees of south latitude. Now let's see about in detail. The Antarctic Treaty of 1959. There were many research stations developed by 12 more majoritized countries joining their hands together of coming under one rule of not destroying animals, and it should not be military based, and India has accepted to this rule in 1953. This rule was revised in 1998. Under those section it states, if any person who wants to go to that place for any research kind of purposes or military based things, they must follow certain rules that are taken by the head of science or military who are responsible for the government, because they are the one who is taking safety measures for the respective places that are supposed to be seen. And the Indian institutions that are being recorded are Dakshin Gangotri, which has been shut down in 1983, and Mike 3, which has been initiated on 1989 and it is running successfully. And lately, Bharati, which was introduced in 2012 and which is also shining off. The rules that are to be followed in this Indian expedition are, it should not harm the environment, and the military is not supposed to take any other kinds of samples or research, and it is strictly prohibited of no exchange of animals from here to there or there to here. And if these rules are violated, then the Indian expedition should face 1 to 2 years of imprisonment, fines ranging from 10 to 15 lakh rupees. And for notice, if people have been caught of exchanging of animals, they would face 7 years of imprisonment and 50 crore rupees of fine. Adding on to this, if any nuclear waste has been disposed in this type of restricted area, then they would be penalized with lifetime imprisonment and the fine sum of 50 crore rupees. Moreover, this bill is applicable to all the people, any military, any Indian expedition, tourists, etc. That would be all, sir. Thank you for listening, honorable members.
I am confident that all honorable members of this House, irrespective of any affiliation, believe in the fact of that Indian Antarctic Bill 2022 will help to raise the standard of our nations. Now the bill is taken into consideration. Is there any suggestion to be told by the honorable members? Motion moved. Those who are in favor will say A. Those who are against will say no. The motion is adopted. The bill is passed. Secretary General, is there any other bills that are to be reported from the upper chamber of Youth Parliament?
Sir, I have 4 following bills to report received from the upper chamber of the Youth Parliament. Is that the Criminal Procedure Identification Bill 2022 has been reported by the Union Minister of Home for approval.
Now the House will take up consideration of Criminal Procedure Identification Bill 2022. Yes, would the Honorable Minister like to say anything on this?
Honorable Speaker and my dear members of Parliament, I heartily request you to propose this bill. I am here to raise to you about Criminal Procedure Identification Bill 2022. This bill is already established by the British government. Under that time, the bill name is Identification Prisoner Act 1920. On that time, they can be collect the victims' fingerprints and footprints for the illegal activities. But now we are in 21st century. We are following those rules about 100 years. But the criminals are more knowledgeable than us. So we have to establish this bill like Criminal Procedure Identification Bill. In this bill, the police officers are collected all kinds of fingerprints, footprints, like all kinds of biometrics of victims. If any person based on suspicious, the person can be arrested under the section 53 and 53A. We also collect all kinds of data. The collected data can be only stored and secured by the NCRB. One of the most powerful and securable in India is National Crime Record Bureau. The data can be only handled by them. If the committed person does not commit any crime, the data can be further erased by NCRB. Thank you, Mr. Honorable Speaker.
We welcome this bill wholeheartedly. This might benefit our nation. Is there any remarks on this bill?
Honorable Speaker, sir, this bill is unconstitutional. It violates liberty, privacy and dignity of people. Did you hear it? Privacy. Every person has a right to privacy. So I kindly request you to reject this bill, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any supportive answer for this?
Yes, sir. The bill is constitutional even the bill is constitutional even before the Indian independence. The British can accompany this rule on that time. After the bill has been established, the crime rate has been reduced to 47%. More than 24% of the crime rates are reduced.
The concrete of data of the particular person can be hacked and misused, and the data can be leaked in online, which cause a major problem after digitalization of data. And while using Aadhaar card, many kinds of fake documents are arised.
Mr. Speaker, the data can only handled by NCRB, which is National Crime Records Bureau. It is one of the securable authority in India, and those servers are connected in Indian satellite connections, and any kind of data cannot be leaked or hacked any other authorities. I repeat, any kind of data cannot be hacked or leaked by any authorities.
Who gave those rights to collect all the personal data of a particular person?
Yes, sir, we have rights. Under the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, Section 53A, we can collect one person's behavior and personal data. According to Penal Code Section 186, failing to provide the required data may result in 3 months prison and the fine of ₹500. I repeat, according to Penal Code Section 186, failing to provide the required data may result in 3 months prison and the fine of ₹500.
If the collected data of a particular suspicious victim is proven to be innocent, I repeat, if the collected data of a particular suspicious victim is proven to be innocent, if so, whether his or her data will be erased from NCRB, that is National Crime Record Bureau. What are the measures to be taken to erase the data from that?
Honorable Speaker, an approval from a respective judge is required in order to prove a suspicious victim to innocent. Once after the revelation, that particular innocent can remove the collected data from the National Crimes Record Bureau. In addition to this point, NCRB is one of the safest means and trusted and safest means of collecting data, which will never cause any injustice to that particular innocent hereafter, and his or her data will be automatically expired within the timeline of 75 years. And therefore, Your Honorable Speaker, I request the House to pass the bill.
Order, order, order. The bill is to consolidate and amend the law relating the crime regulations and duties, and for the matter connected therewith are taken into consideration. Motion moved. Those who are in favor will say A. Those who are in against will say no. The motion is adopted. The bill is passed. Secretary General, state the next bill for consideration.
Sir, I have to report the following bills received from the upper chamber of the Youth Parliament. Is that the Energy Conservation Amendment Bill 2022 has been proposed by the Ministry of Power for approval.
Honorable Ministry of Power, enlighten us with your thoughts.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move. The bill seeks to amendment Energy Conservation Act 2001. The Act promotes energy efficiency and conservation. It provides for the regulation of energy conservation by the equipment, application, building and industries. Key proposals under this bills are: the Act empowers the central government to specify energy conservation standards. Different conservation thresholds must be specified for different non-fossil sources and consumer categories. Determinate consumers includes: the first one, industries such as mining, steel, cement, textiles and chemicals, petrochemicals. The second industry includes transport sector including railways. And the third one is commercial buildings as specified in the schedule. And those who fail will be punished with a penalty of rupees 10 lakhs. Penalty of rupees 10 lakhs. The bill empowers the central government to specify a carbon credit trading scheme. The central government or any authority agency may issue carbon credit certificate to entitle registration under the complaint with the scheme. The Act empowers the central government to specify energy conservation code for buildings. The code prescribes energy conservation standards in terms of areas. The bill amends this provide for an energy conservation and sustainable building code. Under the Act, energy conservation code applies to commercial buildings. The first one, erect after the notification of the code. The second one, having a minimal connected load of 100 kilowatt or contract load of 120 kilowatt.
Honorable members of the Parliament, what is your opinion on this?
Honorable Speaker, what will be the government contribution towards this act to the further industries that are designated as different consumption threshold?
Ex-Minister, addressing to your question, Honorable Speaker, in the NDC, National Determined Contributions, India has committed to achieving 40% of its installed electricity from the non-fossil energy sources by 2030. The country has achieved its target in November 2021 itself, that is 2 years prior. The country's installable renewable energy capacity stands at 150.54 gigawatt as on 30th November 2001. With its nuclear energy based installed electricity capacity stands at 6.78 gigawatt. In line with the Honorable Prime Minister's announcement at the recently concluded C2P26, the government is committed to achieving 500 gigawatt of installed electricity capacity from the non-fossil sources by the year 2030. During the last 7.5 years, India has witnessed the fastest growth in the renewable energy capacity. Additional to all the large economies with renewable energy capacity growing in 1.97 times and the solar energy expanding over 18 times.
Thank you for your kind words, the Minister of Power, and I am enough thankful for your numbers and letters that you have mentioned in your speech. My question is, it is not a developed country. We are in developing manner only. You have spoken about many numbers and words. Is there any rural people will know about this carbon credit points that you have spoken before? My question is, what are all the steps and what are all the measures you have taken to enrich the knowledge to the rural people about carbon credit certificate and what is the validity of that certificate that you have mentioned before?
Sir, among the companies in India, only those companies who have followed UNFCCC norms, that is, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change norms, and those companies who have developed the new technologies where only have the potential to sell the carbon credits. So the proper auditing will be taken before giving that entitlement to sell the carbon credits. And also you have asked about the validity, right? So the validity will be given for 25 years according to the incremental cost effectiveness ratio.
Mr. Speaker, will the energy conservation for buildings be implemented in the rural areas?
Sir, the average annual growth rate of electricity consumption in India commercial building is 9 to 10% from 2006 to 2007. Construction of new buildings is reality to keep pace with increasing demand from residential and commercial sectors. It is estimated that exceeding buildings in India will grow from 1.4 billion meter square in 2017 to 2.2 billion meter square in 2037. I repeat, from 1.4 billion meter square in 2070 to 2.2 billion meter square in 2037.
In 2019, around 296 million vehicles have been registered under the government, but this is categorized only as second level obligation to use non-fossil source of energy. Why can't it be listed at first? If so, what are the steps taken by the government to control it?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, under the Act, the energy consumption standard may be specified for equipment and appliances which consume, generate, transmit and supply energy. The bill expands the scope to include vehicles which it defines under the Motor Vehicle Act 1988. The vessels include ships and boats. The failure to comply with the standard will be punishable with a penalty of up to rupees 10 lakhs. Non-compliances in case of vessels will attract an additional penalty of up to twice the price of oil equivalent to the energy consumed above the prescribed norms. Vehicle manufacturer in violation of fuel consumption norms will be liable to pay a penalty of up to rupees 50,000 per unit of vehicle sold. I hope you got the answer. Honorable Speaker, I request you to pass the bill.
Order. Honorable members, please maintain your decorum. Now the House will decide for the resolution of this bill. Those who are in favor will say A. Those who are against will say no. The motions are adopted. The bill is passed. Secretary General, state the next bill for consideration.
Sir, I have to report the following bills received from the upper chamber of the Youth Parliament. Is that the National Medical Bill 2022 has been proposed by the Union Minister of Health and Family for approval.
Honorable Minister of Health and Family Welfare, share your views.
Honorable Speaker, the National Medical Commission Bill 2019 was introduced by the Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Harshvardhan, in Lok Sabha on July 22, 2019. The bill seeks to repeal the Indian Medical Council Act 1956 and provide for a medical education system which ensures, number one, availability of adequate and high quality medical professionals. Number two, adoption of the latest medical research by medical professionals. Number three, periodic assessment of medical institutions. Number four, an effective grievance redressal mechanism. The key features of bill include entrance examinations. There will be a uniform national eligibility cum entrance test for admission of undergraduate and postgraduate super specialty medical education in all medical institutions regulated under the bill. The NMC will specify the manner conducting common counseling for admission for all the medical institutions.
Is there any opposition for a view?
The IMC Act 1956 has no provision for regulation of fees. As a result, some states regulate the fee of some seats in private colleges through MOU signed with college managements. In addition, the Supreme Court has set up committees chaired by the retired High Court judges to fix fee in private colleges as an interim measure. But deemed to be universities claim that they are not covered by these committees. So we need more clarification on this.
Honorable Educational Minister, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Nearly 50% of total MBBS seats in our country are in government colleges, which have nominal fees. Of the remaining seats of 50% would have regulated by NMC. This means that almost 75% of total seats in our country would be available at reasonable fees. In the spirit of federalism, the state government would have still the liberty to decide the fees for remaining seats in private medical colleges of individual MOUs signed with colleges on basis of mutual agreement.
It is mentioned 50% of the universities are getting the government seats. What about the other 50%? They are paying the donation, high donation for the medical fees. And most of the students are going foreign countries rather than India to study MBBS education, all the other kinds of education. Is the government working on it?
Educational Minister, please.
Would the Union Minister like to answer for this?
Yes, please.
Yes, Honorable Minister, you have raised a really valid question to this point. You told only 50%. Haven't you seen the bill? The other 50% is maintained by NMC. Please go through what is NMC first of all. That is the bill that my client is actually trying to propose. It is the National Medical Bill which is applicable with reasonable fees where everybody can study in government colleges. We have increased the seats and it would take some time because we are having ruling parties, opposition parties like you as well, right? So we are supposed to go through you and then this bill will come to amend. I beg Mr. Speaker to go this or approve this law or this rule. Thank you.
Now this bill taken into consideration. After many suggestions, the court is taking consideration. Motion moved. Those who are in favor will say A. Those who are against will say no. The motion is adopted. The bill is passed. Secretary General, state the next bill for consideration.
Sir, I have to report the following bill received from the upper chamber of the Youth Parliament. Is that the Electricity Bill 2022 has been proposed by the Ministry of Power.
Honorable Ministry of State Power, express your views.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the Electricity Amendment Bill 2022. This bill was introduced in Lok Sabha on August 8, 2022. The bill amends the Electricity Act 2003. The Act regulates the electricity sector in India. It sets up the Central and State Electricity Regulation Commission known as CERC and SERC to regulate interstate and intrastate matters respectively. Key provisions under the bill are: the first one is power procurement and tariff. Upon grant of multiple license for the same area, the power and associated cost as per the existing power purchase agreements PPA of the existing DISCOM will be shared between all the other DISCOMs. The next one is cross-subsidy balancing fund. The bill adds that upon grant of multiple license on the same area, the state government will set up a cross-subsidy balancing fund. Cross-subsidy refers to the arrangement of one consumer category subsidizing the consumption of another consumer category. Any surplus with a distribution license on account of cross-subsidy will be deposited into the fund. The fund will be used to finance deficits in cross-subsidy for the other DISCOM in the same area or other areas. The next provision is contact enforcement. The bill empowers the CERC and SERC to adjudicate disputes related to the performance of contracts. These refer to the contracts related to sale, purchase and transmission of electricity. Further, the Commission will have the power of civil court. I kindly request the Speaker to approve this bill.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Is there any other different suggestion on this bill?
Yes, sir, there is opposition. I raise to oppose the bill which is introduced by the Union Government, that is Electricity Amendment Bill 2022. Actually, it's a fully centralization of authority and it's a frontal attack on our constitution.
Honorable members, please maintain
Many
your
states,
decorum.
right from the south, north, east and the west, have condemning or opposing this bill right from the past. Are you reading the newspaper daily, regularly? You see everywhere. Are you reading? Yeah, I used to. That's why I have the data.
Members, please maintain your decorum. Let the minister finish.
The present bill, Electricity Act 2003, which was introduced in 2003, was to protect the interest of the consumers, which means the public, and to ensure the supply of electricity to all rural areas. So it mainly focuses of giving both the role to central as well as the state in distribution of power and making proper look at it. But this new act, mainly I can tell you openly, this is encouraging the privatization of power, and it is completely denying
order,
and it is completely denying the state's right to be in this act. So they said that it will reduce the deficit. They can compensate the deficit from that revenue. But I mentioned here, it only compensates the revenue of the central government, not for the state government. This is a clear privatization of profit and it leads to capital deficit.
Order. Members, please be seated. Minister, please maintain your decorum.
Please say to maintain the decorum, please.
Minister,
thank you, sir.
Please be silent.
Let me finish. So we, our opposition party, are completely condemning this one, and we want you to don't accept this bill and please throw it away. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move. This bill was passed to improve the electricity sector in India, since the discoms of the state electricity board are already at a use of. Hence, to overcome this issue, we proposed this bill because the privatization of distribution right of electricity can only benefit the country by increasing competition among the various distribution companies. Hence, I will strongly support the bill.
Mr. Speaker, in the case of passing this bill, the southern Indian farmers will be the most affected people, especially Tamil Nadu farmers. I am very sad to say that in whole country, the farmers are already below the poverty line. I am asking the question to ruling party, are you going to break the bones of the agriculture farmers? How would you treat the farmers like that? You can simply giving the electricity distribution to the private sector? If so, explain it.
Wherever आप ऐसे क्वेश्चन पूछते हो, I'll answer for your question. Mr. Speaker, the opposite parties who haven't clearly read out the bill, once again, who haven't clearly read the bill have come up with their own propaganda just to dishonor our property, because we have clearly mentioned that the state government can provide their free subsidies to the farmers, people and companies. The state government has a right to increase well as decrease the subsidies as per their own administrative requirements.
Mr. Speaker, by passing this bill, it will only lead to the destruction of many distribution companies by large monopolistic companies, has happened in the telecom sector. The major problem with monopolies is that once they capture the market, they will rule over and try to dominate the people by increasing the price of electricity.
So, the people have no other choice but to pay the amount enforced by the company. This will create a situation
Minister,
where
sit down.
electricity will become a luxurious product.
Minister
rather
of
than
Labour and Employment,
a
please.
basic product.
Honorable Speaker, nothing can be done. Nothing can be done as per the hyper imagination of the opposition party. We'll keenly observe the companies that are distributed with electricity, and they will be kept under the complete monitoring of CERB, which is the Central Electric Regulatory Board, which is the replacement of State Electric Board. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order, order, order. Honorable members, please maintain your decorum. According to the Central Electric Regulatory Board, the supply of electricity is already in scare in our nation. If we do increase consumption of higher supplies of electricity, is record which is long-term process. The bill is taken into Joint Parliament Commission. So the emotion is neglected for now. Ruling party make sure to bring the consolidated data and rich suggestion in the next parliament. Is there any other bill remaining?
No, sir. I guess this meaningful session has come toward its dawn. Honorable members dispersed.
Honorable members, please rise for national anthem.
जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल वंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलति तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे सब शुभ आशीष मागे जाहे तपस्या दादा जन